All right, everyone. Just want to start by saying thanks to the couple of people that have started to make comments on, particularly my last video. Not connected to my YouTube channel as such, but when I've put that video onto groups that I belong to, people have started to just make a few comments. They've started to get engaged, and it just makes a big difference to me because whilst I didn't get into this to have loads and loads of people connected, it's great to have that level of some engagement. And I started it so that we could all talk about real things. And I think there's an appetite for that. I've seen, not just from messages I've received about the video a couple of days ago and then comments on that video in various groups, which has been great, but also when I've looked at fan channels videos, I've seen in the comments that I think there's an appetite now for us as a fan base to talk about real things. No pretense, no clickbait, not talking about things that really are largely irrelevant to the long term health and success of our football club. But thank you for getting involved if you have. This week has been quite indicative of the whole process with the takeover or non-takeover of United. There's a bit of a dance going on in the media. You'll get a story that says one thing very quickly, followed by a story that negates that. And this week it was that the story was that the process has been paused. The following day, Mike Keegan came out and said the process hasn't been paused. Sheikh Jassim and the 92 Foundation are still quite confident, and the Glazers are talking to numerous parties. Then Ben Jacobs was on United Stand earlier on today and spoke about the bidders are quite relaxed really in some respects, because now there is no time pressure on this, because if the time pressure was previously because they needed to get in for the window so that they could start to make an impact in this transfer window. Well, that's been and gone now really in terms of anything they can make an impact on, so that really it could be a year's time that they would be in charge when they can make any meaningful difference. That gave me the heebie-jeebies in some respects, and I'm thinking that might be all right for the bidders, but as fans we need clarity. He also had an interesting take on this talk from the seller's perspective that the cause of the delay is the 92 Foundation, and I thought that's really interesting because whenever I hear the word delay in any context, I think of the Glazers. When I hear the word delay in something that they're involved in, I immediately think of them because they are notorious for delaying everything. Wouldn't necessarily think straight away of the 92 Foundation, but what he said was that there's this talk that perhaps there's some scepticism around who they are. Are they ready to go? Do they have the proof of funds? Do they have the funds? And it just made me think, I'm pretty sure Sheikh Jassim isn't some dude from Levenshulme who's created a fake profile for himself and created a fake foundation to pretend he's going to buy United. There's a mischievous part of me which thinks, what an absolute legend if he did that just to waste the Glazers' time. But I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So if I had to put a bet on it, I'd be pretty sure it's the Glazers that are causing the delay, not the 92 Foundation. Interesting impact on the share price. When the story came out from iSport, I think it was on Tuesday, that the whole process had been paused, the share price went down by $3 per share, and that's quite significant. So it dropped below 20 for the first time in quite a long time. And that's not even a well-sourced article or a credible person who's written it. And I think as fans, we desperately want them out for our own reasons, and we can protest and we can try and obviously do our best to make that happen. But I think when the business world is so reactive to a story like that, and it shows in the share price, it makes me think the business world wants them out as well, and maybe that carries a little bit of extra weight. Hopefully it does. Hopefully in some ways that's good news for us. Moving on to something slightly different. A couple of days ago I spoke about the impact of fan channels and the fact that I don't think fan channels are doing the club, as in our safeguarding of our club, a service by talking consistently about where a potential signing is up to, talk about rumours of a squad clear out, watch-alongs for friendlies, match reactions to friendlies, etc., going on tour to watch the team. I was pretty much specifically talking about the United stand, if I'm honest with you. Um, Mark Goldbridge is the cornerstone of the United stand, and fair play to him. He has done remarkably well. In 2015 is when he started it, and to be honest, I probably looked more professional than he did then in 2015. Which, he started small, and he's grown a huge channel there and a huge community. So, congratulations to him on that. The other day he said that the fans need to be Glazers out all year round, and that the fans are too easily distracted by stories around new signings, and if the results are going okay. And I thought, you're spot on, Mark, but I don't think you see the irony that your channel is all about distracting the fans with stories about, is it an Arna deal day? Hoyland potentially announced at the weekend. Here we go with Amrabat. Ten Hag with squad clear out. Your channel is all about that. So your channel is moving the fans away from the narrative that you've just said you would like them to have, which is Glazers out all year round. Now, I'm pretty sure what he'd say is that they're a United fan channel that always responds to the news, and that's what they've always done, and that's what they'll always do. And whether we like it or not, the news is Hoyland might well be announced for the Lens game. There is rumours that Ten Hag wants to clear out. There is rumours that Johnny Evans might sign a 1-year deal. That it was Onana deal day was that particular day. It was a here we go with Amrabat. They are United stories, and they're there to react to them, no matter what those things are about. But I think with the size of channel that he's got, if he is true to who he said he was in that video there, that we need to be Glazers out all year round, I'd be looking and thinking, could I do more? Could I do more to promote that view and not move the fans away from the most important thing, which is getting the Glazers out? So I thought it was really ironic that he'd said that. Finally, the 58 did a Spaces thing last night, and the recording's on Twitter if you wanted to listen back to it. It's quite lengthy. The gist of it that I watched was that the fans very much wanted to know what's happening next. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do for the first game of the season? Have you got anything planned for the Lons game? How are you communicating with other parts of the fan base? And tellingly, what are you going to do if the Glazers stay? And understandably, they played everything with a straight bat. One thing that stood out to me was that they said, we can't do things like storm the pitch. We can't be associated with things like that, with criminal acts, basically. However, there's a danger of double standards here, because I was at the protest before the Liverpool game in late August last year. I didn't go to the game, just the protest with my 11-year-old son. And fans who were part of that protest, the organised section of that protest, were throwing glasses and bottles at a coach that had blacked out windows that was going past the toll gate that I think they believed to be the Liverpool team was on that coach. There was rumours that it certainly wasn't the Liverpool team, but there was rumours that it was a group of kids. I don't know if that's true or not. But whether it was a group of kids or the Liverpool team, Liverpool have got nothing to do with the Glazers. And the focus is supposed to be that we want them out, and we're not going to cause any criminal damage, and we're not going to do anything that it paints us in the light of being hooligans. Well, you've thrown glass and glass bottles at a coach, an innocent group of people who've done nothing to you whatsoever. When we got nearer to the ground, the Liverpool fans were going into the away end. Everything changed. It switched completely from Glazers out to murderers, and throwing glass bottles at Liverpool fans. Not this time, not protected by a coach. You could maim someone, you could blind someone, potentially you could kill someone. You're in real danger of huge double standards when you're saying, of course, we can't storm the pitch. But people that belong to that protest that was organised by yourselves, you can't legislate for everybody's behaviour. Of course you can't. But they're lobbing bottles at people, and Liverpool have got nothing to do with the Glazers. That protest was about getting the Glazers out. Liverpool will always be our rivals. We can tell them 2, 3, 4 times a year, however many times we might play them, depending on cup draws. We can tell them how much we hate them for the rest of our lives while we support United. But to get the Glazers out will be a seismic moment in our history. And people couldn't even see it through and just keep going with that protest. As soon as they saw Liverpool fans, it switched. We've had a few beers, let's start lobbing bottles. Which, that is criminal damage potential that's been done there. That is a criminal act. And what I get frustrated with is United fans, regardless of the 58, United fans in general, some of them are prepared to throw bottles at innocent people. Liverpool fans by no means are innocent in general. I know that, but in this, we have to hold our own standards. It's not about Liverpool; it's about ourselves. We shouldn't be doing stuff like that. If a Liverpool fan did that and did hurt somebody, we'd be all over it like a rash. So again, can't have double standards. We can't be seen to be doing that. But then on the flip side of it, let's say 200 or 300 people did storm the pitch. All that needs to be is that they just sit on the pitch and don't move. Who's hurt in that situation? Is it criminal? Yeah. Is it causing criminal damage? Maybe, depends how you got there. Are you hurting anybody? No. Is it for a cause that could change our club's history? Yes. You're throwing bottles. Is that going to hurt anybody? Yes. Is it causing criminal damage? Yes. Is it going to serve any greater good for us as a fan base whatsoever by doing that? No. You do the math. So just think they have to be a bit careful there. I do. And as a fan base, we have to be a bit careful. Can't do that. Can't storm the pitch. Can't do that. But by all means, lob glass bottles at people that are trying to get into a football stadium. It's not on. It's not on. So no real updates as such in this one. Just wanted to quickly touch base. A couple of comments, as I said, about the Goldbridge thing was just interesting, the share price, the stories that have been out there. And once again, just reiterate, thank you for getting involved if you did and making comments on my last video. If, by the way, people completely disagree with what I say, respectfully, put that in a comment. Let's start some real conversations. As I said, I think there's an appetite for it. We don't want to just talk about and get pulled along in the propaganda of stuff that really doesn't matter to our club. This stuff, getting the Glazers out, being open, talking about what's in the way of getting rid of them, talking about how we might go about things a different way. It's huge. It would be the biggest thing that's happened to me as a United fan as an adult, and I was just about an adult in 1999. This is bigger for the longevity, for the safeguarding of our football club. We need these parasites out. They are a disease, and I know I'm preaching to the converted. So let's talk about it. Up the Reds, Glazers out.